This is Buckeye legend Mike Tomczak, and you're listening to OVE Podcast. It's Ohio versus everyone. Subscribe, like, listen, and follow, and don't forget your comments. Here's the show, and remember to always wash your BALLS.
He knows. OVE Podcast, we are back. Ohio versus everyone. I'm the Torg, QFM 96. He's Sam Grooms. Subscribe, like, follow, share. Let's get the algorithms going right now. We are broadcasting live. I know it's not normal time, but we're not a normal podcast. So we are not doing every day, Monday through Friday for 3 o'clock. We are going to do various times throughout the football season. So how are you, Sam?
Doing well. How you doing? By the way, if you hear some background noise, it's not me shitting my pants. We have a deck being built, and the mic's probably going to pick some of it up.
Hey, by the way, I was going to mention this tomorrow on the show. I think I wipe different than other people.
Oh God!
Are
you a stander or are you a leaner?
Okay. So I looked on online. It said front to back, right? Sitter front to back, and then they say stand are like the 60% of people are front to back. The other 30% are stand, and I'm a leaner. I lean to the left.
Okay.
Yeah. And I always thought that I was doing it the right way. And now that I look online, I'm probably in the 1 percentile.
That's not a Google search, I think, that I want to have in my history.
No, I have it in mind. But
Wow.
What do I care?
Didn't think that's how we were going to start this show.
By the way, my internet is working, but I was out last week, and if I have a Mitch McConnell moment where it's not my internet, I'll just say that. Dude, I'm not living till 55. I'm just not. I'm 53. I'm not living to 55. It's not happening, bro. And everyone laughs. I just know. And I'm not even worried about it. I just know. Mitch McConnell.
You got to get those doctors talking to each other, man.
Dude, I got like 80 of them. I have like 80 of them. They're all on like speed dial. I'm going to be like that lady I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm going to have different little things around my neck.
Going to be a walking infomercial.
Hey, I just cut it. Let's get to it, though. I just cut a video. I work at QFM 96, and we have to cut like 3 videos per day per show. And my video tomorrow is no one's giving Ohio State credit for dominating Texas. And what I mean by dominating, my whole video is about dominating, right? In sports, my definition of domination is if you watch a game and if you never think that game's in jeopardy, to me, that's a dominating win. Sam, I watched it. I've watched the Texas game twice now. I'm watching it the third time. There's never a moment, and I'm watching it for the third time, did I think Texas had a shot at this game, at a W, or even coming close to a W. To me, and I don't think people are saying nice win. It's really good. Buckeyes are number 1 now. But I'm not hearing a lot of I'm hearing a lot of dominating defense. Sam, this is all around. To me, in the definition of my domination, it's a dominating win.
So I think that there's 2 different ways you look at this. I basically think you have to give the team that dominated the opposition, in this case, the number 3 team in the country that we're told, dominating the number 1 overall team in the country. You need to give them their kudos for going out and doing what they did. Or we need to do away with the AP poll preseason altogether, because it means nothing until you actually see how these teams perform when they're playing against competition, instead of going off what happened last year, who they have coming in, what players they have ascending. To me, the AP preseason poll is absolutely pointless. But here's the thing, and one 4-letter network seems to be doing this over and over and over again, is bending over backwards and trying to give as much credit, justified or not, to the SEC as possible. The issue, I think, why they're doing what they are doing as far as maybe prematurely ascending SEC teams in the ranks, or refusing to give anybody but an ACC or an SEC team any credit, would mean that they would have to acknowledge that everything they said in the offseason leading up into this season is wrong. And as a human being, I don't like to admit I'm wrong, but I think that's the crux of this. Either give Ohio State credit for what they went out and accomplished, or own it, and let's just stop doing the AP poll altogether.
Yeah, and the coaches poll, I know they were a little nicer to the Buckeyes, but let's be honest, the coaches don't vote in the coaches poll. It's the sports information director, and it's completely ridiculous. And to remember this about the AP votes, I got one of my old producers is an AP vote, has a vote in the AP poll.
Does he have a mustache and produce a show on a local?
No, he does not. He does not work here anymore. These people
are not talking about the same guy.
We are not talking about the same guy.
Okay. I thought he had a vote.
No, never. You're thinking of a completely different guy. And I don't know. Tell me who. I mean, can you tell me who you're thinking?
I thought Lovestein has a vote.
Oh, does he does Lovestein have a vote? I don't know.
I thought he does. I know. I want to say he's got a Heisman vote.
Wow.
So I would imagine he's got an AP vote too. No.
How does he get a vote and I don't have a vote?
You answer that question. I think we solve a lot of the world's problems.
Yeah, how does he?
I wasn't trying to derail your train of thought there. I'm sorry.
No, but what I'm saying is these AP writers, when they are writers that cover teams, they're spending all day covering their teams. They're not watching other games. They're watching highlights. So they just look at scores. We're past the days now of scoreboard watching. I think the 52-7. If there's those games, it's because you're putting cupcakes on your schedule. I think you're going to see more competition now. I think you're going to see addition to the playoffs, and I think you're going to have regular. There's always a regular season where like the big game is like Iowa State versus Kansas, right? There's always that week. I don't think that's going to be like that.
You know what though? I think part of me agrees with you, but part of me disagrees with you because you're seeing some teams actually like go Penn State, where they're trying to avoid Ohio State every year, or who was it in the Big Ten that basically came out and said we're going to play Cincinnati at Indiana essentially came out and said we're going to play the easy schedule because we know that's going to be the best way we have or the best chance we have to get to the playoffs. So part of me says there's going to be programs out there that are going to go out and seek top competition so they can have a game like they had this week in Ohio State at Texas or LSU and Clemson. But I think there's other programs out there that are going to go as cupcake as possible and try to avoid the top programs as much as they can.
Your overall thoughts? I mean, Buckeyes offensively, you can look at Julian Sayin, Sam, and he started 4 for 7. You can realistically look at his start and go, that should be 7-7. I mean, he had 3 drops. I mean,
he made some throws, and I think I would love to know what Sayin said to Ryan that first drive where he made the throw to Max Clare instead of hitting a wide open JJ Smith on the post. I would love to know what he said to him because Ryan seemed to say he saw the right thing. He probably made the right throw, but we want him to see JJ in the future. I'm going back and forth on the offense. Overall, this was one of those games being, number 2, number 3, depending on what you're looking at versus number 1 coming to your house. First game of the season. This is one of those situations where it's just win to me. Just get out and win the game. Sorry. I don't know how much of the mic this is picking up. But
no, just a little bit of the sidewise.
Go win the game, right? That's all I care about. But then I started thinking, I'm like, man, I was not concerned about the defense at all. I thought Matt Patricia was going to be a great hire. I thought you've got some guys that are ascending to positions that are a year more mature than they should have been playing in these positions last year. So I wasn't as concerned. I'm just a touch concerned about the offense for a couple of reasons. One, and I guess maybe just one main reason. We saw Ryan Day go super, super, super conservative yet again. And I know, again, you come into this game, I don't care if you win by 1 point or 100 points, just win the game, which is exactly what they did. You've now got 2 more weeks to kind of go out, get right, and off or a bye week of your one of number 2. And then you go to a tough game out in Washington. So I'm a little concerned about the offense. I know defenses are ahead of offenses at this time of the year, but I just saw conservative Ryan Day again, and it makes me just a touch nervous.
Well, you look at, you mentioned right away the non-pass to Jeremiah Smith, and then Claire dropped the ball. To that one, I think on the deep balls, but he kind of redeemed himself with the Carnell Tate. I think the message probably was he's the best receiver in the country. And if you're looking at it, sometimes you got to throw a guy open. Do you know what I mean? Like if you see a defensive back on Jeremiah Smith, you got to throw him open at some point. You got to trust that he's the top receiver. I don't even think that Ryan Day would have been mad if he didn't throw that ball or the ball was intercepted, because you got to take that risk with Jeremiah Smith. Anytime it's, and I'll have to go and Zach and watch the video, but I would have to think that was probably a one-on-one or a what they call it, the Tampa 2, where the corner covers and then the safety picks them up. I'm not sure. I would have to watch tape. Maybe someone in comments did and they saw it. Maybe the corner covered and then released to the safety. But that's probably what Ryan Day's probably told him, is just, hey, man, if you have that available, you got to throw that ball. But a lot of it too, though, Sam, you talk about like conservative offense. A lot of these drives were stalled by drops. Momentum changed by drops. So, yeah, I do agree with the conservative approach, because it's almost they're running, dive right, dive left. And our offensive line did a great job. I thought the offensive line did a great job of pass blocking, run blocking a horrible job, because I'm not sure if this team has a running back right now.
By the way,
that's what I'm scared of.
How do I sound? Am I good?
Yeah, you're fine.
I'll switch to the headset so I can hear you a little better. Yes, I think the offensive line performed well against that defense, not giving up any sacks. Julian Sayin, I want to see more out of him. However, what I did see out of him was I think is productive, and I think in the future is going to, you're going to be able to reap the fruit of that labor. But I also don't think that the coaching staff, and they said so after the game, really asked him to do much. I think very quickly Ohio State understood that all we have to do is run the ball, milk clock, let it go out and play defense and be opportunistic on offense, and you're going to win this game. The one, again, what I am critical of is some of the play calling, especially not necessarily in the pass game, although I do feel like we were run first, run second, pass third pretty predictably on Saturday. But there was no ingenuity whatsoever in how they were trying to attack with the run game. It was very much between the tackles, up the middle, not a ton of misdirection. I think they ran maybe 3 counters, but it was all very straightforward and vanilla. I want to know how much of that was, hey, we think this is going to be effective, or if this is, hey, this is all we've really implemented into the offense, or this was, hey, we understood very quickly that we're going to be able to play defense, maybe bring back a little bit of trestle ball and win this football game. So we're not going to show too much. So again, you got the job done. You beat the number 1 team in your barn at noon, which is still the dumbest thing in the world, but you got the job done. Now let's see some growth in the next 2 weeks, or, hopefully over the next 3 weeks. Hopefully everybody can stay healthy. But I want to see a little bit more ingenuity. I want to see some of that creativity that we really saw in the last 4 games of the season last year when Chip Kelly was at the helm.
Yeah, Nick D chimed in, and Nick D, I still have your Urban, and it's actually boxed up. Ryan Day did say after the game we could have gave him more. So, right, I think it originally goes back to your original point, where you said you got to win the game, you do what it takes to win the game, and you don't put your team in jeopardy. Meaning, like, if the worst case scenario, here's the thing, if it was Freakier Friday Part 2 or 3 or whatever the hell, right, and it's Julian Sayin and Arch Manning switching places, imagine being Arch Manning right now, right? Arch Manning had a really bad game, and people think Arch Manning sucks. Now, I don't think Arch Manning sucks, but I think he was a little overhyped. But we're going to take.
That's not his fault, by the way.
No, you're not. You're correct, and we're going to get to the defense. We'll get to the defense. But see, Sark put Arch Manning in a bad situation on the road against the number 3 team in the country, right? The defending champs. Sark screwed his quarterback. He pegged his quarterback. Ryan Day didn't do that to his quarterback. He probably, and admittedly so, I could have gave him more. So the conservative game plan you talked about, yes, but it was conservative game plan to pick up the W, and that's all they gave a crap about, right? And now you have like 3 or 4 games or whatever to tinker with your offense, to actually throw out stuff out there you want to see from Julian Sayin and not worry about an Al. The big thing here was the win, and then not making your quarterback or putting your quarterback in a position where he made mistakes like Texas did with Arch Manning, right?
Right. And this is
worse. You could be Sark today.
This game to me is akin to Tennessee, Oregon, who did they beat? Texas last year, and then Notre Dame. It's just win, baby. This isn't like Indiana. This isn't like Illinois or Purdue, where you not only have to win, but you have to go out and win with some style.
Yeah.
This is just to get it done. This is a survive game. And you're still alive, even if you would have lost this game, if Ohio State would have lost 14-7. But this sets them up. We talked about this last year when Ohio State got beat by Oregon. We talked about this very much so after the Michigan game. You by winning this game, you still have margin of error in your back pocket. You still have that ability to make the playoffs. You still can maybe, and God forbid, they pick up an unexpected loss down the road. But going out and beating Texas not only keeps that ace in your back pocket, but it puts the national football, college football landscape on notice. Is like, hey boys, we didn't go nowhere. We put a bunch of guys in the league. Our hardware's nice and shiny down there in the Woody, but we didn't. We're still here. This is still ours. Come and try to take it.
Yeah, 100%. Can't agree more. Let's talk defense. Take a quick 60-second break. We're back because Matt Patricia, holy crap. And we'll tell you certain things he did that maybe you didn't pick up on. We're back, the OVE podcast. I'm the Torg. He's Sam Grooms. I'm Mornings QFM 96. We are back 60 seconds.
After your claim, is your insurance company being a Hulk? Let me tell you something, maniacs. When you get into an accident, you deserve a world champion in your corner. Don't let these insurance companies out there run wild on you. There are only a few things certain in life: death, taxes, and warforyou.com. I got this bad allergy. I'm allergic to BS. When these outside insurance companies call, tell them to take their BS and shove it, just like the BS of me having to cover up this logo so I don't get sued. Tell them to call your attorneys at warforyou.com. What are they going to do when War for You runs wild on you? Don't let the insurance company pin you to the mat. Call 877-WAR-FOR-YOU for the people's justice.
How was the volume there? I worked on the volume. I was just like turning
better, but still a little high, but much better.
All right, I'll work on it. I'll crank it down even more next time. There you go.
I love that ad though.
Dude, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, did we not have we had a super chat? So here's what happened. I'm going to explain to everybody what happened. We were with Menace, love to be with Menace, but we just don't have the followers to have Pat do like the graphics and everything. It was a waste of Pat's time. Really was us doing everything. So we're still with the guys. I still talk to Zach all the time. It's just we have control of the podcast. So when we did that, I had to create new different things to get paid, our like $4.02 or whatever it is. So I didn't know we could take super chat. So I didn't answer the super chat. So what was refresh my memory, Sam? What was the
so we had? Give me 1 second. Let me pull it back.
Did he think someone wanted to know if we think who would win against Michigan, Ohio State? Was that
legit? Vids 36 hit us with $2. Will Ohio State ever beat Michigan again?
All right. I think if they lined up right now, Ohio State would kick their ass.
Absolutely. I as bad as it has been the last 4 years, especially with everything that has gone on, I don't think there's any doubt in the world that Ohio State will return. It's like politics. The pendulum swings further and further each direction each time. So eventually, hopefully, maybe Ryan Day gets it together and is able to beat Michigan this year up at the Big House. But yeah, like as bad as it is right now, the pendulums will swing back our way. You're coming off 2 decades of dominance. It'll come back our way, I promise.
This is why I if you ask me, like if they lined up today, one, Underwood is a freshman, Julian Sayin, redshirt freshman, but Matt Patricia to me is the key. I think Matt Patricia's probably one and done, unfortunately. He was a mastermind. You line up Caleb Downs at defensive end, then you move him out, you drop him back, and then he's in the middle of the field. You line him up at a linebacker, and he's blitzing. What he did, see, in football, folks, we talk about how, and the Buckeyes did this offensively. They took Jeremiah Smith and they moved him in the slot at plays. They moved him outside. They moved him to the other side, Sam, and they moved him in places to get a we get the advantage, right? We're going to make you have maybe like a safety on Jeremiah Smith because we're moving on. I don't recall. I know there's been defensive ends. They move defensive tackles and they move a guy around. They'll move him, to the left side or the right side. I can't recall a game, and maybe someone can help me out in the chat, where a safety was moved defensive line, linebacker, his original position. They made it to where you had to pay attention to where Caleb Downs was on the field every time you snapped the ball. I don't recall any time and maybe someone could refresh my memory. Sam, I don't recall any time where you're an offensive team and you had to, I get the defensive lineman, like Myles Garrett. You got to account for Myles Garrett. I don't recall a offense having to account for a safety in any game.
Right. So, and that's the
what
thing.
Matt Patricia did.
I think not only is it Matt Patricia's ingenuity as far as knowing all styles of defense schemes, but then also knowing your players. But I also think it's the ability for other players, whether they are playing corner or other safeties that are stepping up, that has freed up Caleb Downs to kind of play that nickel. I hate when people or the media come up with terms to like, oh, this is the new thing. This is the new phrase we're going to use. But I think this fits calling him a joker because he's literally a wild card. The guy's everywhere. You're essentially creating, you have guys that are good enough to play the actual traditional positions around him so well that you can free him up to move him around, because the guy is an absolute eraser, which is still the nickname I'm using for him. The guy is freakish. I remember when I was watching him last year, I'm like, this guy's coming over. He's supposed to be this, that, the other thing, mainly because I was looking for the Malik Hooker ball hawk guy, the guy that, has 6 picks, returns 3 of them for touchdowns. But if you actually watch the guy, he is so sound. Yeah, he's going to get his fair share of picks, but he's going to absolutely go out, fill the hole when he is the last line of defense and make the play. Sometimes that's 5 yards, 6 yards down the line of scrimmage. Sometimes it's 2 yards deep, like he did or 3 yards deep when he blew up the play. It was 3rd and goal, I believe, or 2nd and goal against Texas last year. So the guy, I don't think he's kind of like JJ Smith, where you literally can't speak highly enough of him.
You know what it is too? It's almost like, and I'm probably wrong on this, but in the NFL, so he is in New England and they're winning championships. And then he goes to Detroit and you're playing for your job at Detroit, right? They had so many failed coaches. It's almost like the need to win or to turn this around is probably so stressful. You're probably losing your mind. Here he comes to a place, defending national champions, tons of talent all over the place, tons of young talent. And you can start kind of using the term screwing around with people. Hey, I got this guy, Caleb Downs. Hey, I got this guy, Arvell Reese. I can move him around at linebacker because Arvell Reese was a machine during that game. I think he can open, because we talked about like the Bible and the book. It's kind of like if you ever watched How I Met Your Mother, Barney Stinson had the book to get laid. Matt Patricia has the book for plays. And he's talked about how Matt Patricia studied every defense, knows which player thrives in that defense and how it came about. And he's probably looking at a defense featuring a Jack Tatum or a Ed Reed type, right? Would I hit it out of the park when I talk about Ed Reed? The only one I can compare him to is probably Ed Reed, because I think he's going to be that great. I think he's going to be as great as Ed Reed. So I think Matt Patricia is pulling open the defense and looking what the Ravens did. Remember, was it Brian Billick was their coach? Brian Billick did, even though he was an offensive guy, looking at what those defensive teams with Baltimore did with Ed Reed and said, all right, I'm going to dial this up and use Caleb Downs in different situations, see what historically teams have done with a truly dominating safety, because he was awesome. And let me throw another guy at you. So last year, Sam, we said on the show, I don't remember what you picked, but we said, give us a surprise Buckeye. Like, give the people a surprise Buckeye. Do you remember who I said?
I do not. You're going to have to fill me in.
I said Caden McDonald. And he was fat, out of shape, and not good. Now, how does Caden McDonald look? I'm a year late. But Caden McDonald, folks, won't be here next year. He's a junior. That dude's going to be a 1st or a 2nd round pick. Watch the game again and watch how he disrupted that middle of the line.
Back to your point about Matt Patricia. So the best analogy I can make is when some of these, like Chip Kelly last year, when any of these offensive coordinators or offensive minds come from the NFL down to over to college football. The difference is this: Chip Kelly is designing a play to utilize the talent he has to get a specific guy open for a specific play against, by and large, like talent, right? By and large, the talent is equal across the board in the NFL. Now, we can nitpick here or there, but think of the discrepancy.
Well, the Browns
in talent.
fans will disagree.
Stop. I'm not ready for this. The discrepancy in talent across programs in college is far more vast.
Yeah.
So think about the plays that Matt Patricia is designing against a guy like Arch Manning and some of the talent that Texas has. He's got the talent gap that Matt Patricia is working with is going to be monumental. Compare that or pair that with how smart the guy is, how he knows he's going to be able to exploit your weaknesses with the glut of talent that he has. I remember people were pissed off about the Matt Patricia hire. And I said from the get-go, I loved it. The guy knows his shit. The guy not only, and this isn't going to be like a Jim Knowles situation where I have my system, I have to have my guys to be able to run my program, and
I have to play like crap to get, or I have to play like crap to get my ass in gear. Yeah.
I feel like I think Matt Patricia, I hate saying feel like. Matt Patricia to me is a guy that's going to be able to come in and take the ingredients in the cupboard and make a masterful 7-course dinner. And it doesn't matter what's in the cupboard. He just knows ball that well. He knows defensive football that well. So when they hired Matt Patricia, I was ecstatic. And, we saw that on display on Saturday.
Oh, just a fantastic play calling it. And big players made big plays. The corners did well. I mean, great game.
I told my dad at breakfast, Arvell Reese is my dude. The 8 and the 0 is going to get a little weird for me as far as who's making the play, but it's good seeing the Silver Bullets back. It's good seeing some linebackers back playing ball, because I'll tell you what, man, those guys are dangerous.
Yeah, it really is a dangerous defense, and it sets up and to one final point, and then we're gonna move on. Kudos to the Buckeye. Watching that game the second time, Sam, I didn't realize how bad a field position the Buckeyes had in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Buckeyes, it just always seemed they were like within their own 10-yard line, like every damn time they had the ball.
It seemed like they weren't trying to play the field position game because Ohio State's defense would bow its neck when it needed to. I mean, you had 2 4th and 1, including down on the goal line. When you have that supreme confidence.
Stop the 4 times, Sam.
You have that supreme confidence in your defense. You can afford to be a little willy-nilly instead of trying to play punt field position like Trust used to. I'm on one hand, and you're probably going to have a heart attack. I'm very optimistic about this squad this year. Yeah, calm down. Don't do it. All right. We got to get through the season.
I've already had enough health problems recently. Come on.
We need to get through the season first. But I'm very optimistic at where this team is, because this does harken back to the Trust years where you can win with defense. Even though I don't think Ohio State's going to have to win many of those games, but that game Saturday proved they can do so. And we all know that there's enough talent on the offensive side of the ball that that's not how it's going to happen. My concern is the conservative nature and the conservative play calling of Ryan Day when he feels his butthole tighten a little bit, pulling the play calling back from Brian Hartline. And maybe that was the plan the entire time. That I don't know, but I'm still a little weary of that.
I just want one thing on the offense. Get a one. I don't think that James Peoples did not impress me. This, you know what this running game reminds me of? Do you remember the year that like Boom Herron was their leading running back?
Mm-hmm.
This, how long ago was that? 15 years ago?
That was the prior years, correct?
Yeah.
So that was probably the
prior years.
8, 9, 10 era, maybe?
Yeah. Dude, I harken back like to 15 years ago when Boom Herron was our running back. And I hope that maybe it was just, hey, Texas got five defensive tackles they paid and bought for and had rolling in there. I hope it's one of those things where Texas is really good. I would really like, I know, Sam, you want to see the offensive game, not be conservative. Me personally, I think that'll come with time and, kind of, quarterback, wide receiver trusting each other. To me, I want to see the running game really open up. But let me do this. I think let's get off this and get on something else. I think Matt Patricia dialed up with the plan because I think kind of Texas probably thought coming in, listen, we're the number one team in the nation. We have the best quarterback. So they thought in the nation coming in, we're going to beat the Buckeyes in their own place. We're going to plant the flag, right? I think Matt Patricia took Arch Manning and made him look like a undrafted free agent. That's what he made. Do you look at this as Arch Manning had a bad game? Sark choked again in a big game? Or do you just think it's a hiccup when it comes to Arch Manning? Because everybody's been telling us how great he is. And on Saturday, he had his chance against a team. Sam, the Buckeyes defense will never be more vulnerable than they were Saturday, week 1. Because now it's we know, right?
Barring any injuries, I think you're absolutely right. And I'm knocking on wood while I say that. So I think it's two things. And I saw a stat the other day, and I should have pulled it down for this specific purpose. I think that the answer to your question is a combination of two things. One, Sark offensively is not anywhere near the same stratosphere he is against bad teams when he's playing against good defenses. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's a combination or part of it. But I also think there's a lot to be said for the fact that Quinn Ewers was somehow starting over Arch Manning last year. And I brought the point up last year. I said, listen, if Arch is this good, if he's this talented, if he's this generational, he's starting over Quinn Ewers when he's playing at 70% last year. In my mind, that makes your team better, right? And I don't know what promise Sark made to Quinn Ewers, but he owes it to the rest of the team to put the best quarterback out there, does he not?
Yeah, I agree with that, but I always am the mindset of, all right, you got not a senior, was he a redshirt junior? Was that what he was? Or was he
Quinn? I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
redshirt junior, because he came back when he could have gone pro.
Yeah, to me, I always go with the guy who got you there, and maybe he's struggling a little bit just to show to the other members of the team. So I wasn't necessarily against Sark keeping Quinn Ewers, right? I was never in that camp. I could see both ways, but I was kind of leaning towards keeping Quinn Ewers because, hey, who gives you the best chance to win a championship? A guy who has been successful. Wasn't Quinn Ewers a Heisman finalist?
2 seasons ago?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the guy who's the Heisman finalist, even though he's struggling. That's just me. I don't think there's any right answer.
Maybe you're right, but I'm saying Nick Saban won a national championship by pulling the trigger in the biggest game of the year, going to the younger guy. But
now the Buckeyes won a championship going with because of injury, going with their third string guy.
Yeah. So to answer your question of why I think this we've kind of all seen the writing on the wall up to this point. But the reason why I think this might be a little, it might take a little longer, and I think that maybe Arch isn't generational. Did you watch his mechanics? Do you think he was
trying to throw? He was trying to throw on the run. It looked just.
Do you think he developed those mechanics because of what Ohio State was throwing at him, or do you think that's just what he is?
I just don't think he was ready. I just don't think he was ready for the smoke. To quote the prophets, I don't think he was ready for the smoke, dude.
You can't change mechanics at this point. So to me, unless he's able to just absolutely pad the stats, rip off, be able to be kind of a dual threat quarterback, have a 250-yard passing and 90-yard rushing or 300 and 100 here and there, I don't see it. I really don't. And Texas is going to be playing good enough competition to where it's really going to magnify his faults. In my book, I'm not saying he's trash. I'm not saying he's not probably at the Heisman ceremony there in December. I'm just saying there was enough. We could read the tea leaves to this point to know that maybe he wasn't quite ready, and that based upon what I saw, and again, how he was being touted and built up, which is, again, 100% not his fault. That's the the walking Q-tip, or like I'm workshopping Jew-tip in Paul Feinbaum. Him just putting this guy up there on a pedestal when he hasn't earned it to this point. Again, back to why I think the AP polls are bullshit. But I just, maybe he's got plenty of time to kind of pull it back. But man, I didn't see it. I mean, when he threw he had that first throw rolling out to the right, and he had a guy open by 10 yards.
Yeah.
And skipped it
and skipped
15
it.
yards in front. I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Schedule though, Sam, if you look at it, San Jose State, UTEP,
They got some get-right games.
Yep, Sam Houston, bye. Then at Florida, then versus Oklahoma. We're going to find out what Oklahoma takes on Michigan this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to find out about both those teams. At Kentucky, at Mississippi State, at home against Vanderbilt, then a bye week, then at Georgia, Arkansas, Texas A&M. So the schedule outside of, they should win every game except for Georgia, and that means they'll probably make the playoffs.
Dude, I don't know, man. They got to go to that Texas-Florida game is going to be a good watch because they're going to the swamp for that one. Texas, Georgia's obviously going to be a good one. That's at Georgia this year. And then that Texas A&M and Texas game's always you just never know when the rivals get together. And then the Oklahoma, Texas. I think their defense is stout enough, and I think they have enough talent on their squad to get it done. But I was not. And I'm also one of those guys, I'm not going to sit here and say he's trash after seeing him one damn time. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not saying the guy's probably not going to be there or has the potential to win a Heisman Trophy this year. Kind of like the same situation. I'm not wanting to completely bury the offensive running attack after seeing them one game. If Ryan Day and this program has shown us anything, they build on it year to year to year. So I'm not going to bury him. The guy's got pedigree. Maybe that's why he is where he is. I don't know, but he's got a great offensive mind behind him. I just think Ohio State put it on him. I think if that game is played in the third week of the season or the fifth week of the season, it could be potentially different. But because it came out of the gate, your first big major start with 107,000 plus people, and we need to give credit to the Ohio State fans for going absolutely apeshit. I just think Matt Patricia won that day. And guess what, man? That happens in football. That happens in sports. Some days you win, some days you lose, some days it rains. And he lost.
I know, Bull Durham reference. Why are people quick references? In an argument, a disagreement, sometimes both people can be right. Absolutely. I love I'm a man, I'm 40, now he's 50 probably. Mike Gundy taking a shot at Dan Lanning. Oregon paying, it was funny, like everybody criticized Ohio State last year for spending $20 million on a team where they were bringing the majority of their guys in outside of Julian Sayin and Caleb Downs, right? I mean, everybody else was basically keeping their guys. You had Texas spend $22 million. Comes out now, Oregon was spending tons of money, spending $40 million this year. Where's the criticism? Mike Gundy's like basically saying, where's the criticism for Oregon? Right? Everybody wants to criticize Ohio State. They're spending $40 million now. Dan Lanning comes back and says, well, to win in college football, you got to spend. I agree with both sides, right? Because Clemson plays Oregon this weekend. Boy, Clemson could be 0-2 to start the season. It could be, everybody thought Clemson was going to be the national champions.
But can I ask a quick question, really?
Yeah.
Why does everyone think Clemson was all that great? They snuck into the playoff last year because they won the ACC championship. They were a 3-loss team last year.
Everybody loves Coach Sweeney.
Everybody loves him. That guy's a freaking.
Everybody loves him, though. Ryan Day last week said, if I could send my kid anywhere, I'd be there.
Before James Franklin was James Franklin, it was Dabo Sweeney. Clemsoning was a thing and guess what? He hit on 2 quarterbacks, and ever since before then and after that, he's been dog shit. So can we maybe put that to bed? And guess what? Cade Klubnik, whatever his name, that ain't it either. Sorry.
I'm
done. Continue.
Final thing. Why are you cheering against Bill Belichick? I know they got their ass kicked. I'm actually cheering for him. He's an old guy who's got a hot chick. Why does everybody hate Bill Belichick? All right, he won a lot in New England. He's an old guy with a super hot chick. You should cheer for that. Don't you want that? If you were a single 74-year-old guy and a hot 24-year-old girl with huge cans came your way, Why the Bill Belichick hate? I don't get it.
So I think this is a tale as old as time, and I think you know this. Maybe you're just not putting two and two together. The media builds you up and tears you down as fast as they possibly can, right? The guy is the absolute GOAT when it comes to head coaches in the NFL, and they had to kiss the ring and kiss his ass all the time, and now is their chance to take a bite out of him. So that's what they're doing. You asked the question. It's gray area for me. If they do well, great. If not, whatever. I don't care. Really?
I don't think they spent that $20 million to agree upon on that roster. Their best player was out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
their best guy was on our team.
They, as far as assembling a roster in a two deep, I would love to see what an actual two deep on that program was. And I think Finkus made the best point last night that is absolutely humanly possible. He made the point. He made a point on X that basically said, I've sat through film sessions with Bill Belichick. These boys are in for an absolute world of hurt today.
I like it.
And that would not be a fun film session to have to sit through with Bill Belichick just riding your ass.
By the way, if you're hurt at work or in an accident, let attorney Robert Schuerger go to War For You at warforyou.com. Subscribe, like, follow, share. What's your schedule the rest of the week?
So on the road, but I think we're going to be able to get it done. But I'll have to chat with you. We'll have something for you later this week, assuming you don't die again.
I think wrestling's coming back.
Nice.
Where
are we on wrestling?
Seth Rollins is the champ. Okay. Cody Rhodes is kind of doing nothing.
Is he a heel or is he babyface? Where are we now with him?
Stupid. He's a stupid idiot. I hate.
He's a bad character.
Oh, what do you want to talk about? How about you leaving and going away and not being the champion? I don't mean going away like a bad thing. I just mean like leaving the organization. Now I got to clarify every time I say going away now because
he is. I told you this. He is the most unbelievable champion I've ever seen in professional wrestling.
He's so vanilla.
I just can't. His entrances are great. His music's great, but after that, it just dies.
No, dude, you're preaching.
Is Rhea Ripley single yet?
No, not well. Maybe I haven't checked. I know, smoke show, huh?
Absolute.
You like her more tatted up, right?
I could go either way. I just think she's an incredibly attractive young lady. That's all.
She's big too. She's big like you.
Well, she's big. No, she's not big like me. She's probably pretty fed up, but she's only like 5'8", isn't she?
No, dude, she's got to be 6.
Hang on. We got the Google machine.
All right.
5'7". It's just because she's wrestling Liv Morgan and some of these other midgets.
All right, I got 5'8", 5'9".
Okay, what did I say at first? 5'8"?
Yeah.
Liv Morgan's 5'3".
Dude, she looks like she's 6 foot.
She does, and that's the beauty of boots with heels and camera angles, right?
Really short.
Well, again, Liv Morgan is 5'3". And I told you, Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss.
No, I've been in studio with her.
She's a Hilliard girl.
Oh, my Alexa.
She's from Hilliard, like Davidson, I think.
Yeah, no, she's been in studio. She's tiny.
Oh, she's not very big.
No, I just said Alexa, and my Alexa went off here in the studio.
Oh, that bitch.
Yeah. You know what I was on the radio? I say, Alexa, play Torg and Elliott, QFM 96.
Does it work?
I don't know. I just did it, and it didn't work. All right, so we're back sometime this week. Well, I don't know. We're back. Unless I miss McConnell it. I don't know. Who knows?
Unless you die again.
Yes, we're out of here. Oh, boy. Thanks for watching. We're stupid. Need to sell your home fast? At Cash for Homes Columbus, they make the process simple, fast, and stress-free. Whether you're dealing with a foreclosure, downsizing, have an inherited property that's become too much to manage, they can help and get you cash fast. Forget about costly repairs, cleaning, dealing with agents. They buy homes as in any condition, no matter how big or how small the issue. With Cash for Homes Columbus, you get a fair all-cash offer, and best of all, they handle all the paperwork and closing costs, so you don't have to worry about a thing. They work on your timeline, so whether you need to close in a week or in a month, it's entirely up to you. No stress, no waiting, no hassle. Ready to make your move? Visit cashforhomescolumbus.com. cashforhomescolumbus.com. Let them take the stress out of selling your home. It's quick, it's easy, for cash. They buy homes as is at cashforhomescolumbus.com.